there is no active rare earth mines in Europe. We believe our Alstrom rare earth project has the potential to be the first operating rare earth mine in Europe and will make a significant impact on secure supply within Europe. Strong support for this in Sweden, which is a mining-friendly country, and the Alstrom project has recently received Strategic National Interest designation from the government-controlled Swedish Geological Survey. Steve, thank you for having us on.
You too, Steve.
Steve, yeah, thanks for that. And from the 30th of June, end of this month, the date of the EGT's annual general meeting, I'll step into the role of executive chairman. I'm hugely excited at the prospects of EGT as the company's co-founder and largest shareholder. My interests are clearly aligned with our shareholders, and I'm confident we can deliver on our M&A strategy in the near future as EGT focus moves away from the mining towards acquiring distressed revenue-generating assets in the green economy. Having recently made the decision to step down from my former role as chairman of hVIVO, a position I held for 8 years, I'm now able to devote a lot more time and take on this role of executive chairman of EGT. My core skills is finding and acquiring distressed business and building up companies. That's something I've done successfully. Recently turned 60, so I've been doing this almost for 40 years. I've had many years of doing that successfully, and is that what exactly we plan to do with EGT? I had hoped to step into this executive chairman role last year, but it wasn't possible due to my other work commitments. I've always been clear that the focus of EGT was not to be in a mining company. Therefore, as Alstrom's rare earth drilling program in Sweden was successfully completed in 2024, and in recognition of our strategy to transition away from mining and a focus on acquiring distressed assets, the board and Aidan Lavelle have mutually agreed that Aidan will step down from his role as CEO from the AGM, and his employment will conclude thereafter, shortly thereafter, basically. The board feels now is the appropriate time to complete this, as a different set of skills and expertise is now required to execute EGT's M&A and growth strategy going forward, which is why I'm stepping into the role of executive chairman, and therefore will not be hiring another CEO in the near term. I would also like to thank Aidan for the work completed on the rare earths project in Alstrom in Sweden last year, and he's helped develop, we believe now, one of Europe's most attractive rare earths projects, which we feel will create significant value for our EGT shareholders as we successfully monetize it in the months ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Yeah, so 2024 was a really, really exciting year for us. I suppose the first landmark thing that we did was the list on the AIM market in London. We raised gross proceeds of 6.46 million, and that enabled us to spend some money, about 10% of what we raised, on the Alstrom rare earth project in Sweden. And with that, we achieved some key milestones and value inflection points for the project as we prepare it for monetization, which we're looking to sell it or partner with a third party. So first of all, we completed a 1,500-meter drill program at Alstrom. So that stepped out from the historic resource towards Djupadal and Alstrom West, and we had really good positive results from that, which proved the district scale potential for rare earths at the Alstrom project. And this is a really critical point for an incoming acquirer who wants to know that the project they're looking at is of scale and that it becomes really, really interesting. As well, at Alstrom, we had really strong metallurgical results from the project, which indicate a standard, well understood process processing route is capable with the rare earths at Alstrom. This avoids the downfall of a number of projects where you bespoke processing routes, which becomes very expensive. So having a really simple metallurgical profile is really encouraging for an incoming acquirer. And with these key points, we were able to extend the license by a further 4 years to June 2029, which again is a key feature as we look to sell this project. As well as that, we developed a number of other potential projects in the green space. One of those being a 12-month option we took over the Alton Carbon Credit Project in Donegal in northwest of Ireland. And this really was to focus on generating near-term revenue from generating carbon and biodiversity credits at a large peatland site up in the northwest of Ireland. And where work is ongoing with a number of key stakeholders there. From a financial side of things, we ended the year 31st of December 2024 with a robust cash position of £3.7 million. And this puts us in a strong position to implement on our M&A strategy later this year or into 2026. Where we're focusing on acquiring revenue generating businesses in the green economy with our existing cash resources.
Steve, yeah, correct. Rare earths are certainly a very hot topic in recent weeks and months, and this has made EGT's also rare earth project in Sweden even more attractive to potential acquirers. We always knew it was a world-leading project, but it's even better now with all the profile is raised. Why is the profile? Is really accessing a secure, stable supply of rare earths is clearly a key global policy of the new Trump administration, but also the Chinese and also the Europeans. Trump has highlighted the significant importance of identifying rare earths in Europe through his negotiations with Ukraine for future access to their mineral rights. Rare earths are critical, really, to production of permanent magnets, which are key components in many industries. Every wind turbine, every EV in the world needs permanent magnets. But really, what's got the Americans panicked at the moment is the defense industry needs even more rare earths. For instance, a typical F-35 fighter jet requires more than 900 pounds of rare earths per jet, highlighting the importance of a stable supply. China currently dominates 95% of the global refined supply and have recently put very strict, basically banned the exports of rare earths, and that has really got the Trump administration panicking. In other words, how will they build the F-35s, the missiles, and the radars? These tariffs have a knock-on effect in supply, and it's clear that Europe now, as it's rearming and becoming more defense-oriented, also requires a very stable supply of rare earths, particularly for its renewables and also defense industry. However, there is no active rare earth mines in Europe. We believe our Alstrom Rare Earth project has the potential to be the first operating rare earths mine in Europe and will make a significant impact on secure supply within Europe. Strong support for this in Sweden, which is a mining-friendly country, and the Alstrom project has recently received Strategic National Interest designation from the government-controlled Swedish Geological Survey. So that's really exciting. Shows the Swedes are taking our projects super seriously. We're now looking to sell or basically monetize our partner, the Alstrom project, to a third party, and we're engaged with a number of interested parties. However, we do not intend to spend any further cash on our mining as we're confident with the excellent work we did last year and is completed that we can actually successfully monetize this asset. And that allows us to produce cash from the sale of this asset and reinvest it in the business to support the M&A strategy going forward.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, we started the year in a really strong position, and we've been laying the groundwork and the foundations for another busy and productive year for EGT. So from a project perspective, I mentioned the 4-year extension for the Alstom Rare Earth project. That's critical for any incoming acquirer and has put us in a stronger position in those discussions which are ongoing. Likewise, we extended our copper license in Pajala up in northern Sweden, which was an ex-Anglo project and one we think is very interesting. Copper is still a crucial in the electrification of the global economy, particularly in Europe, and having a European source supply, another European source supply of copper, is critical. So those discussions are ongoing. Um, as we announced today, as part of our Alton Carbon Credit Project, we've extended that option agreement at no further cost to ourselves by a further 6 months, as we look to continue some of the positive discussions we've been having on trying to generate near-term revenue from the project. It's a very rapidly developing space. We saw in the last number of weeks, Microsoft has committed to acquiring 3 million tons of in an offtake agreement of nature-based carbon removal projects. So it's a really, really interesting space to be part of, and we were looking to become one of the first movers in Ireland in that space. So, you know, in summary, for the remainder of 2025, we feel we're in a really strong position to have a really strong second half to the year. Obviously, executing on our M&A strategy, which Cathal has touched upon, and we're engaging with a number of parties with ongoing discussions. And then, with our Alstom Rare Earth project, with the hugely evolving market for rare earths, we think there's potential to monetize this project later in the year and generate significant returns for the shareholders. So we think the rest of 2025 will be very busy and exciting for EGT.
Well, it sounds like it. It means lots of time to talk to us, of course, and we'll update everything as it continues to develop. Jack, thanks so much. Great to see you again.
Thanks, Steve.
All right. Cathal, congratulations on the new role. Very exciting for you, and we look forward to more conversations together, okay?
Steve, thank you very much. We'll look forward to keeping in touch.
All right, good stuff. There's Jack Kelly, the Chief Financial Officer, and Cathal Friel, the soon-to-be Executive Chairman and founder of European Green Transition.